you want to know what it means to be a Catholic and to be a disciple, you just look at the Gospels, right? You look at the Acts of the Apostles. And so to just kind of break it down in three very simple stages, I say number one is relationship. What was the first thing that the disciples, the followers of Jesus did is they spent time with him, right? So the whole life of prayer, relationship with God in the sacraments, mass, confession, a lot of your life right now, especially for the confirmation kids, it's about establishing that relationship with God, a living relationship with Jesus, because we have a saying in the seminary, you can't give what you don't have, right? So if we want to be able to share the good news of the gospel with other people, we can't give what we don't have already. So we need to maintain and foster that relationship with God through the church. So first stage is relationship. The second stage, I think, is vocation, asking God every day, what is it that he's calling you to do with your life? And there are, kind of three within the church, right? You have obviously the vocation to married life, which are married people, Veronica, yourself included. You witness to the beauty of being called to, establishing and forming good Catholic families, which is the building block of society and the church. But then also there's vocation to priesthood and then vocation to religious life. So it's about finding what it is specifically that God is calling you to do. How is he calling you to live that vocation in the church and in the world? So relationship, vocation, and then thirdly and finally, honestly, it's just about involvement, active involvement in the church's mission. What does that look like? It's parish activity. It's ministry. It's what you're doing right now tonight, actually.
It really wasn't until college where a friend of mine, he really encouraged me to attend mass with him. And I was like, I've never really been someone who'd go to mass on Sundays, but sure, he spoke really good things. And kind of some context to that too is when I'd go to mass, I'd be like, okay, I feel like I'm doing a good thing, but I didn't really know what they were saying. And I felt like it didn't relate to me. And that's kind of why I didn't really want to go. And so when I went to mass here for the first time, it was with Father Joe actually. And I just specifically remember his homily was I was like, wow, this is exactly I can relate to this. And this is realistic things that are going on in my life. It's easy to get distracted and, justify reasons to not go to church. People make time for things that are important and worth it to them. And in a practical way, I personally follow accounts that are either faithful quotes or, obviously I follow Pope Francis because he's cool now. And I feel like being a young person, it's easy for people to judge sometimes. Being Catholic and going to church groups and things like that can kind of come off as weird, so to speak, but or something of that nature. And by no means is that the case, especially here. And that's actually one of the reasons I became so involved in Catholic Student Association. So I'm now president of Catholic Student Association. I on January 1st, I started a journal where I write the best part of every day. And it's just one line. And it really just helps me focus on the good rather than the bad. I mean, even on a horrible day where I'm crying and something horrible happens, I still find one specific moment that made me smile or made me find that shed of hope and positivity.
It wasn't until I got to high school and I finished my confirmation class where one of my confirmation teachers asked me to come back and teach the confirmation class. I felt I was able to strengthen my relationship with God and my faith through kind of serving these younger group of kids who needed my guidance in this class. I went to a Catholic high school called Marianopolis Prep. We'd all have mass as a school once a month, or for special holidays, we'd have a mass. And I felt that there was a strong community connection through faith at my high school, especially with Catholicism being a focus of some of the major classes we took. Fast forward to college, I feel like it's a little bit different, and I wouldn't necessarily say in a bad way. I really enjoy having that power to be in control of my own faith as an independent college student in college, as in I'm living out my faith for me, and I'm trying to live out my faith through how I'm leading people on the track team, for example. I like to try and be a good leader and set a good example and be respectful and not judgmental. And I try and work those values that are core to the Catholic faith into how I carry myself and how I treat others in what I do in class and on the track. Because I've been able to take control of how I approach my faith and how I handle it, that I've become a better person and more well-rounded and a better leader and yeah, just a better man, I feel like.
Sometimes I find it difficult when I'm really busy, whether it's with school, sports, extracurricular activities. I tend to not lose sight, but I sometimes don't always feel like I have the time to really reflect with God or spend time praying. So I find that when I'm really busy, I need to really like dial it down and kind of think like, what do I really need to do to center myself so that I can stay positive in like all aspects.
I don't go to church every week, and one of the reasons is because I have dance Sunday mornings, so I really want to like try maybe like Saturday nights to go to church.
You can get caught up in things, like if you're out with your friends or something, you can get dragged into stuff. Like if you were like out with your friends at a party or something, there can like bad things can happen. I just think like stuff like that can happen like very easily. So you need to stay like rooted in your faith.
Well, I know these past 2 months has been like really a struggle for me, and then like just turning to God and reflecting on that really helped me.
I was having a lot of stress from having transitioned to a brand new school, and I started getting really like so overwhelmed. I think it really started hurting my relationship with God. So I kind of had to take a step back, and I had to reevaluate what was important to me.
In general, whenever I feel like I'm having a difficult time, like living out my faith, I always think back to that my faith is kind of the center of my life.
For a lot of people, it's hard to live out their faith because there's like a lot of bad influences like all around them. And like you have to kind of really think and focus to try and just like be true to yourself and get through it.
A lot of times it's hard for me when like if I'm trying to get other people to go to church, or like my friends, a lot of times they use sports or other things as an excuse that they can't get there.
The main challenge that I found in my faith was as a child, I always had to go to church every weekend. I wasn't really present. I was physically there, but not mentally. And I think that the best way to deal with that problem is just you gotta think and like spend the time to work on your relationship with God. It just doesn't come like instantly.
Keep my head up and always stay positive and always look for the better things, even when I am really stressed.
A way to live it out is just to always like never forget and just pray and just try to focus on it, like no matter what's going on.
Like I pray each night, and I think that really helps like just stay grounded and like keep you on the right path. And like going to mass too is just really helpful.
Spreading the religion and like sharing with others like what is it all about, and like really having people understand us.
I went through a very stressful past, and once I started letting God in more, I started to feel like more relieved. My like life became a lot easier. I found really good friends, and it was just like things became a lot more easier.
Expanding your faith with the youth, because the youth is really like the future of the church.
Kind of just being active, like taking the next step and saying like, oh, for example, with the Hope revival, I just like gathered a bunch of my friends and I said, like, let's just do this together. And I find that having company with you, whether it's with a friend or meeting someone new, and just being active and just going for it, is definitely a way that you can live out this mission with you, like within yourself and with others.